Oh, there you go. You're live.
It's going worldwide.
Very good. How do you want to do? Well, anywhere you want to get, I have a second camera.
That's cool.
I'll change it. You
Oh,
don't
thank
think- I'm your personal assistant.
All right. So today, my name is Steve Dust, and we've already established I'm subbing for the expert. One of Casey's roles is to be president this year of the Laclede Ozarks Regional Development Council, LotO. LotO was established several years ago, I think 12 or 14 years, for the purpose of coordinating all of the voices around the lake about economic development. When I say economic development, everybody's got something that comes to their mind, what that means. For our purposes, we're looking at the entire economic base. We look at all economic activity, but in our strategic planning process, what we have found, let me back up just a second. I've lived here for 3 years. This is our home for retirement. We lived for 25 years in Iowa, in a variety of real estate development, economic development roles. Before that, we were in Sedalia. I was part of a company called Septagon Industries. You remember those guys? What took me to Iowa was to buy another company to be a part of that group, and I stayed. While I was in Sedalia, I was also their mayor for a while. And before that, I was the economic development director for them. And somewhere in there, I was the director of economic development for the state of Missouri. So economic development has been in my career path the entire way, in one way or another. So when I retired here, I wanted to raise my hand and say, yeah, I'll help however I can. So I'm the chairman of LotO's Strategic Planning Committee at this point, and they began a strategic planning process in the year 19, just before COVID. And so, like everything else, it got started, slammed shut, and then as COVID began to release and people got comfortable in meeting and talking about things other than staying alive and keeping their business well, we also began talking strategy again here at the lake. What we found in that process is that while nobody can debate the strength of the tourism industry in the lake region, what we don't have is a 12-month economy, and what we don't have is diversity in our economic base. And so we have built a plan around providing that diversity and strength, that 12-year economic strength that most places get to enjoy. One of the things that we found that we do not have at the lake that almost every other multi-county economic area has, whether it's in Missouri, the Midwest, the United States, is a single office that is dedicated to promoting business growth and recruitment. Okay, whether it's startups that are non-retail startups, or whether it's an office, healthcare, manufacturing, there is no person who is responsible for looking at the entire economic area. And by economic area, I am defining that as Miller, Morgan, Camden, and an affiliation with Laclede. Okay, so the organization is just those 3 counties, but we understand that Laclede is really a part of our economic area, okay? And so we'll affiliate in some fashion with them, not merge, affiliate. So our mission right now is to try to put together a transition plan that takes Lordic from where it is today, we'll talk about that for a minute, to where we need to be as a marketing organization. So what I really, if we could go to slide, I hate to do this, but let's start with slide 12.
Oh, yeah, the
There you go. That's slide 12. So in summary, what we're trying to do is have one mission, one focus, and one voice for the Lake of the Ozarks economic area. We want one place where anyone, a business, a consultant, can come and find out about all of the lake's attributes and try to find the best match in that region for their operation, whatever that might be, or help your operation to expand quietly but effectively with a professional at the helm. And also, I've already mentioned that few areas are without that unified regional marketing voice. And we can and will compete with other economic areas. Recently, I met with the organization that markets Missouri. It's called the Missouri Partnership. It's not the Missouri Department of Economic Development. They have a separate role. About 15 years ago, we determined that it was better to separate the marketing function from the service function. And that's a trend that goes on around the country. I visited with them about the lake, and they had no knowledge about the lake because they have no central contact for non-tourism related business. Okay, they have nothing to do with tourism. And that's another separation we talk about. But they had no knowledge because they have no contact. And so the purpose of my meeting was to tell them, oh yeah, you do. Lordic is moving in a direction that will give you that regional voice. And they were very glad to hear it because it was a hole in their map. So we are setting about, this is something new for the lake, as I mentioned. It's not that we've had it and it fell apart. We've never had this function. So this is something brand new. Let's go to slide 3. And then I promise it will just be easier for me. I want to talk a little bit about what Lordic is now and what we're talking about in terms of a new Lordic. Some of you may not even be familiar with what we do now. Again, Camden, Miller, Morgan counties, we deliver information for growth. And it's been our strategy, our only capability at this point to do things that study what's happening in our economy and give that information to our businesses and to our local governments so they can act on it. Our housing study has been done twice. The first was in 2017. Our latest was released last year, showing that we had a need for well over 5,000 units of various kinds of housing throughout the lake region. And if you get, and that's on our website, if you read that, it's by city and by county, so you can see the analysis as of a year ago. Workforce Summit. One of the issues that every one of us would talk about is our workforce. We have convened the Workforce Summit for the last 3 years. It's been a very good event that has led to some very good action on the part of our school districts to react to the needs of our businesses, and that just needs to get more mature. The hospitality study is underway right now. What we wanted to see was, okay, given that we have been hospitality strong, we're now hospitality weak as it relates to some of the major facilities and travel facilities. We wanted to see what the marketplace is needing and where it can occur so that our communities, again, can use this as a promotional item to talk to developers and operators about the Lake of the Ozarks as a place for a new facility, or to buy one of the facilities that are for sale today. An economic brief, you can get on our website and take a look at a recent economic brief about our current data, demographics, and economic data. We also did something called Next Site Tertiary Marketing. We engaged a firm through Laclede Electric, Ameren. Let me catch up. Through Ameren, had a master contract. We subcontracted from them to have an organization come in, take a look at our marketplace, and try to promote us along with others in the national market for anything basically but manufacturing. I'll put it that way, and healthcare. And we had a hell of a time with that. And I got to tell you, as an aside, this could be a whole presentation, but between our next site operation and our hospitality study, what we ran into was a brick wall. People at the Lake of the Ozarks didn't want to talk to us, didn't want to provide, wouldn't take the time to provide the information to them that they need. So again, if that operation took place today and we had what we're calling the Lake of the Ozarks Economic Alliance in place, that would be the place where they got all that information. And we would have a door opener for them, and we could have had a lot more efficiency. Nevertheless, we're 100% volunteer. There's at least 2 board members in here, and there's 2 more that are either past board members or extremely familiar with it. But we are 100% volunteer at this point, and that just doesn't work when every one of the volunteers, except for some guy like me, represents a place, a town. And we work on a $20,000 a year budget. Our businesses are good, and our community, local governments are good enough to give us $20,000 per year to operate on. But to market, to get our place into the market, we can't do that on $20,000, and you can't do it with volunteers. Okay, so where are we headed? Lake of the Ozarks Economic Alliance is just a name I picked because we wanted to show there's a significant difference. We want to add Laclede as an ally, again, not merge, but as an ally, because they are an important part of our economic area. And then we're going to market. We market externally. We go through the Missouri Partnership. We go through railroads. We go through other economic actors, that consultants, I mean, this is getting into the weeds a little bit. I'd like to do that. Consultants account for over 40% of projects in the marketplace. Office, manufacturing, healthcare, whatever the case may be. So it's not always the business. It's almost usually the RFP from the consultant working for them. Internal major expansions project management. If there is a major project, as business people, I know there's representatives of local government here, but if you are a business person, you would rather deal with a third party to try to plan your strategy of how to approach the myriad of government programs that there are. That's another role that this economic development person plays, is to help the business translate all the government gobbledygook that goes into a successful economic development project and put those people together. They become the honest third broker sitting between the business and the local community as they try to match needs and attributes. Okay, so major project expansion, make those happen. There's a way to accommodate those. There's a person looking for those opportunities and offering opportunities that may not be visible to them otherwise. And startup and scale and ecosystem. We've been struggling in the Lake of the Ozarks to find a way to encourage what we call entrepreneurship, business startups. Okay, business startups and growth. For me, I'm talking about business growth. Of course, we want to accommodate startups. Absolutely. Somebody with a good idea has got to get the opportunity to start it up. But then once they start, We got to make sure they've got the resources and the people behind them to continue to grow. We need an executive director. We need that person to begin the process. And then over a 3-year period, we'll probably add a project manager. Somebody that can actually work on the internal while the other person's external, or project manage while the other one's marketing, however they determine is best to work together. But over a 3-year period, we would expect that second person to appear. The board needs to represent investors. Right now it represents, Jeff, is there any other business person on that board besides you and me? No. The rest of them are very good, but they're representatives of local government, okay? We need people who move the economy of the Lake of the Ozarks on that board. We need people who are indifferent about where the project may locate. It needs to locate in the best place, okay? Wherever that may be for the business or expand. That board needs to represent the investors that are supporting it and the people who move the economy, okay? Private sector. And that's going to take, honestly, a $200,000 a year budget. Now, and we've got some stuff there to talk about. What that budget covers, and all that sort of stuff. What I'd like to go to see slide 4, please. Oh, let's keep going. I'm looking for one that says key performance indicators. Maybe we didn't get it in that. Okay, we didn't get it in that one. But we we have a list of key performance indicators. How do you know when you're successful? How do you know if your investment is returning anything to you? Well, first of all, we've got to have targeted, we've got to be targeting the kinds of businesses that are most likely, A, to fit here, B, to add to our economy. And so how many leads did we get from those sectors? How many prospects did we get that actually visited our area? How many full proposals did we get? How many times, in terms of full proposals, how many times did we get to compete in the final 10? Okay. Because they usually come down to groupings of 7 to 10, then they come down to groupings of 3 to 5, and then you're in head-to-head competition for the decision. Then you got to get the decision. If we're fighting for a decision, what's the economic benefit? We've got to be able to tell you, the community, not just our investors, but we've got to tell you what are the benefits in dollars and cents and costs of this operation, the jobs, the average wage rates, and how is that broken out, the total wages, the capital investment. All of those things are important to different people in the community, right? So in not anywhere did I say sales tax, because sales tax will be a product of this success. Okay. And then on the startup side, we've got a whole list as well. We've got to be able to show you that we're making progress there. Sectors, payroll, number of jobs that are being created beyond the startup stage. So what are we trying to do? Let's go back, if you want to, please, to that raising 750. There you go. Okay, so what are we trying to do? We're asking the community to provide Lordic to change itself to the Lake of the Ozarks Economic Alliance for $750,000 to be spent over a 3-year period of time to do that, to prove ourselves. Now, to prove that the Lake of the Ozarks wants this to happen, we're asking for funding for feasibility study. Now, I've been in this business a long time. And we can make a feasibility study say whatever the hell we want. But I'm very sincere with this. We have got to determine whether or not this is the first time you've done this. There are benefits to having done this when we get to the other side. But to make the decision to go now is a tough one, all right? Because it's going to cost money. Do we have the support in the Lake of the Ozarks to begin this effort? Should we even begin to try to collect $750 for 3 years? The commitments for a 3-year budget. So we really do want to have that feasibility study. It's going to cost us about 50 grand by the time we pay the fee plus the expenses associated with it. It's going to be 45 to 50 grand. And so we are currently asking our businesses and our institutions and our local governments to fund that study. Now, guys, I'm telling you, as long as I'm a part of this in this volunteer role, I am going to make sure that we have a go, no go level. We are not going to go in spite of what the results of the feasibility study say. We have got to have the ability to get to 750 or above, or we're just not going to do it. We can't. I mean, it's not rational to come to you and ask you to fund a deficient effort. So that's our basic ask of the community right now. This is the direction we're headed. We have got to find out if it's even feasible, and so we're asking our community at this point to support our feasibility study. And I've rattled here for a while, so
I got a question on this. This sounds, like basically you're just trying to do what the Lake Ozark Council of Local Government should have been doing for the last several years. Is there a way to potentially merge that, work those organizations together?
well, the regional planning commission or the council of local governments, is council of local governments. Economic development is not necessarily local government, shouldn't be decided by local government influencers. Economic development is private sector and should be driven by private sector influences. The role of the regional planning or the council of governments is to provide resources and coordination of local government functions for governments that are not able to do it for themselves. This is a marketing function. The alliance is a marketing function. What we talk about over at the Council of Local Governments is a funding organization for local governments and services. In my experience, I have never seen a Council of Governments successfully be a marketing arm for their region as well.
Right now, there's 0 people in that.
Yeah, and they suffer the same. That's another discussion. Yes, sir.
Got a question regarding this, but I know that the Lake of the Ozarks is growing in terms of
Yes.
And some years ago, I heard that, well, 85% of the homes along the lake were weekenders. I don't know if that's still true or not. But one thing that with this growth, one thing that I just don't understand what happened to the Osage Beach center there. Where
Oh, the outlet mall.
And all the little towns in the other counties. You go down the main streets and there's all of this vacant buildings there.
Yes.
And I'm wondering what's behind all that.
Well, I can't respond directly to the outlet mall issue. That one, you have all kinds of things collapsing on top of that. But I will tell you that in terms of retail, you and I are both doing a lot more online shopping. That is growing at such a rate, it's phenomenal. And even with the rate of growth they've got, it's still relatively small overall, but it's still growing and it still has an impact on the local. That's why we've all got to try to walk in the doors. We've got to try to walk in the doors and only order the stuff that we cannot find. But that's a big part of it. Now, the other thing that we'll all talk about are people. We have to find a way for these 4 graduates to come home and have professional positions that are fulfilling to them and also economically rewarding to them. And it's hard to do that on a 5-month economy, 6-month economy. They also have to have a place to live. And we have to continue to work on getting the kind of attention to the Lake of the Ozarks as a place to make the investment, things that Ron's been working his butt off to try to get done here. We have to try to continue to, and there's nothing like getting the attention of the world as like Quaker Window when they hit Eldon. That was something to promote. Okay, they had confidence that they could draw the people there to get that done. We have to continue to work with our hospital to make sure that they are strong, healthy, and can recruit the people they need there. So there are all very strong infrastructure elements to economic development, but we've got to have somebody out there telling the story of the Lake of the Ozarks to anybody that will listen. Within our targeted.
Any other questions at all? Well, thank you.
Any more questions or information? Get a hold of Casey is the easy answer. And she'll shuffle it